Hi, this is Andrew Smith with Mohawk Field Services. We've actually had some questions come in on our new unified soft flooring product on how to transition it to other hard surfaces. So we're going to put a short video together and actually show different products, different thicknesses, and show you guys actually how to transition between them. First, we're going to start off with some of our hardwoods, products that would either be glued down, nailed down, or stapled down. Now, our pad on our unified soft flooring is a full 3/8 inch thick. So at a 3/8 inch, we need to make sure that the hard surface, for it to be able to be cut and trimmed next to it, needs to be 3/8 as well. So with a 3/8 engineered floor, you simply are able to trim and go directly up next to the pad, no trim needed. So you can jump from a 3/8 up to a 5/8, same method. You have the thickness of the pad to the thickness of the product, and as long as the thickness of the hard surface exceeds that of the pad, then you can go directly up against it. And you can actually go all the way up to a 3/4. So at a 3/4 with a high nap on the product and it still being the 3/8 pad, it will actually transition directly up without having to use a transition. We have our floating floors as well. With our floating floors, what we're actually looking at is something that's going to be between an 8 mil and a 12 mil. And then we're going to actually have to use some type of transition strip between the two. So we're actually going to use our Instaform trim. So with our Instaform trim, we have our 8 mil product. Our 8 mil product is trimmed and put in place. You'll actually have a track that will go to the floor. The trim goes on top of the 8 mil, and then the unified soft flooring actually trims directly up to the Instaform trim. If you go to the thicker 12 mil product, which is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a 1/2 inch, so as we come up, you'll actually change to the other profile, which is a thicker, more engineered trim, and then the transition happens in the same way. There again, with the track directly in between the unified soft flooring and the floating floor. Our next product that we're going to be looking at is when the product is actually thinner than what the unified soft flooring is. So we'll be looking at some of our products that are going to be our LVTs and our sheet goods. So with our sheet goods, there again, using our Instaform trim, because the square edge of our Instaform actually comes up directly to the edge and is thicker than what the pad is, we can use our Instaform unprofiled directly over top of the vinyl and then transition between the unified soft flooring, the Instaform trim, and then down to the vinyl. Now, when you move over into your floating LVTs, so you have either the square version of the LVT or the plank version of the LVT, we actually have to start looking at different products. So we can actually use things such as our tap down metals to come up next to the edge of them. We can actually use our Instaform trim as well up next to the edge of the float, or if it's a glue down. Now with the floating products, you may have to look at transitioning over to a rubber, kind of a mushroom cap trim. There again, it will have a little T-track that goes to the floor and then the trim clicking into it. Or you can actually look at doing some of the scoring on the back. Now we'll show you how to score everything in just a minute. But basically by scoring, what I'm talking about is taking the unified soft flooring product, trimming some of the pad off of the back, so that then allows me to fold the product over to transition directly down. So if I have a hard surface and I'm going over a wood floor, I can actually do a turn and tack with the unified soft flooring directly on top of the LVT, whether it be the square version or the plank, or I can turn it directly down and do a turn and tack directly on top of the vinyl. So either one of these are a method of working with. Now the other thing that you're able to do with that trimming of the material off of the back of it, it will actually come down and will actually square directly up and make a smooth transition to either the LVT, if it's a glue down, on either the plank or the squares. One of the other questions we've had in regards to transitioning is transitioning from our woven polypropylene secondary product over to our unified soft flooring products. Now I have another piece here that's been scored. This one's been scored about 1.5 inches in off the back. So we're going to kind of step you through each of the little processes to attach our unified soft flooring to a standard woven polypropylene. So first off, we're going to take one of our standard seaming tapes. Our tape's a full 3 inches wide. That's the reason for the 1.5 inch score on the back is half the width of the tape. You have to actually peel the paper off the edge so the edge of the adhesive will get directly up to the edge of the score mark on our pad on the back of our unified soft flooring. The other thing that you'll do is take our tape that is specifically designed for the unified soft flooring. It will actually be applied directly beside the pad. Basically what this is going to do is hold the USF directly to the edge of the pad. So I can actually take the edge of the pad, go up to the edge of the conventional pad, and then my seaming tape with the cut edge turned directly around and tucked all the way in, and then the woven polypropylene brought up to it, and then you'll use a conventional seaming iron and simply make the seam. This will be any type of doorway or transition when you have an existing stretch-in install going up next to one of the USF products. We mentioned earlier about scoring the USF product to allow it to transition to a hard surface or to actually transition to an existing stretch-in install. So we're going to show you how to actually do that scoring on the back of it. Now with my framing square here, basically the framing square, you have a 2-inch and then an 1.5-inch bar, one on either end. The 2-inch would be for the turn and tack method. The 1.5 inch would be for the seaming onto the conventional stretch-in. So basically I'm going to lay the square up on the edge of the USF, squaring the back edge with the edge of the square. I'm going to take my razor knife and actually score along the front side of the square, making sure not to cut all the way through the USF. Basically all I'm trying to do is make 2 or 3 passes into the pad to make a nice score line so it actually opens the pad up. Then we're taking a pair of pliers, and we'll kind of spin this around to you guys. Take a pair of pliers, grab the pad off of the USF, and then we'll actually pull and release it up. Now if you run into any spots that are difficult to pull, you can always score a little bit more. But after I've pulled this off, I'm then able to flip it over, make my turn. So this is for the turn and tack. Or it also can be used as a way of getting it to profile down, taking the thickness of the pad away, so it will actually go down and touch onto the other hard surface, this being LVT. So if you have any further questions on our USF product, please contact us at our tech line at 888-387-9881.